How do I start this video off? So this video is just not about tents really. It's about patron update. I currently have 6 people. I got 5 people on the email tier, and I got one great person on the, I talk to him on the phone all the time tier. And it's been fun. I've been learning a lot myself from these people. So it's been really cool. Ironically, I met someone like 4 years ago, bought a piece of property up near me, and was going to turn it into an event venue, but it needs a lot of work, and he's still working on it. And he's from New York City, and he subscribed to my Patreon, and then was like, "You look familiar," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you." But so that was ironic. I already met him 4 or 5 years ago. But anyways, the person that I talked to on the phone, this great lady, was like, gave me the idea that I should keep some morsels for the patron people. And she's right. They're paying for my undivided attention all the time. So I'm developing these lists of things to help out rental companies. Like, I just recently put a list up about linen companies where you can rent the linens for 7 days. They get mailed to you, and then you just mail them back. You never have to clean them. You never have to own them. And you still make about a 30% margin. So I made that list to help people out because it is really hard to find them on Google. You type in linen rentals, your city, you just come up with other rental companies. I haven't quite figured out how to type in Google to find just linen providers for businesses like ours. So I asked a whole bunch of people and found a bunch around the country, and I'll keep adding to the list as I find more. I'm going to come out with another list on rental programs, because as you grow, you're gonna outgrow just doing it in a notebook, and you definitely need some sort of software to help you out. So in a week or so, I'm gonna gather up all these different companies and put that list out on there. Then I'm gonna come up with a list of the top tent manufacturers, and then the economy tent manufacturers, and I'm just gonna be sharing this on my Patreon as a resource, as a tool for people who subscribe to that, help them out a little bit. I got a few tiers. There's a small tier where you have access to the full Patreon, everything that gets posted. Then I have a $12 tier where you need direct access to me in text message format right on Patreon, messages back and forth. And then I got a third one where I've only limited it to 4 slots, where once every other week we talk on the phone for half hour, an hour, and go over a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm kind of a modest guy. I make a lot of money in rentals. So me setting up a Patreon, I thought was weird. Like, why am I asking people to make, donations to me? I already make a lot of money and my life is comfortable. But then I decided it was just a way to focus, because once my season begins, once tents start going up, I can't be answering a bunch of emails and YouTube comments. I just won't have time. But I still want to help people out, so I made the Patreon and focused it on 50 people plus the 4 phone calls every other week. So I can still feel good about helping people, but focus my attention and time, because time is my limited resource and I just don't have a lot of it. So I guess that's why I did it. I still feel uncomfortable about, saying, "Hey, pay me money and sign up," but it is what it is. But it's been working out. It's not going to like pay my mortgage or anything. I didn't make any of these tiers like crazy expensive. And then a subscriber, Icy Profits, reassured me, because I made a video about this before where I feel uncomfortable about Patreon, and he said to me, how much would I have paid someone when I first started to be able to ask a question at any time and get a reliable answer? Would it be worth $12 a month for me? And yeah, probably. So thank you, Icy Profits, for making me feel a little bit better about this. But anyways, so I'm doing a lot of updates on my Patreon lists and things, and then Patreon has this podcast feed, which I think would be very interesting. I don't want to do a podcast like on Stitcher or iTunes or whatever. I don't want that. I don't want to be dealing with trying to find, advertisers and things like that. I just want to put it out there on Patreon. So I'm gonna start doing a podcast with other rental owners. I obviously got to start with people in my area. I know a few people that own food trucks. I know a few caterers. I'm gonna get some of them in, and I think like every other week or every 3 weeks, I'm gonna put a podcast up there. And you just got to be part of the lowest tier to get access to that. I think it'll be interesting to hear more stories about other people starting their businesses and how they operate and what they use and how they're different than me, and how even though they're different than me, they're still successful, and how you can just do all these different things in the same industry and be successful. So that's my Patreon update. I feel like I kind of blabbered because, like I said, I am extremely uncomfortable with this Patreon thing. But I do think it's a good resource. I do think it's going to be good for me once the season begins. Like I said, just focus on a limited number of people. And then once the season ends, obviously I can go back to normal and answer YouTube comments and emails. But you know, in about a few weeks, it's just going to be the Patreon thing. And if you don't want to sign up, that's cool. No big deal. I'm still making videos. You can still like post comments on videos that you'd like to see, because I do need video ideas. It's kind of just taken for granted that I just know all this stuff, and I didn't realize how many videos I could actually make until I started making videos and coming up with ideas. Like, I thought I'm going to be able to make like 30 videos and that's done, and that's the explanation of the whole business. And you just never really sit back and think about how much knowledge you've actually accumulated over 14 years that you can share. So I have a huge notebook full of ideas, but it's always good to have more ideas. You know, something I didn't think about that I just think is an easy thing, but someone else might really not be understanding it or just need a little bit of help. So feel free to leave comments, give me ideas, and if you want, go check out the Patreon. And that's about it. Thanks for watching.